Stop the cap.
So let me demonstrate to you the power of AI. And this is actually amazing and terrifying at the same time. So the source, and I'm letting you know that ahead of time, the source is me. Okay, so everything that you're about to hear is based off of pretty much what I share on the internet every day, my content. Um, but this is AI basically having a conversation with itself, using me as the source material, and basically making a podcast that sounds like a podcast. The inflections, the some of the dynamic questions that you're going to hear, that is not me. That is AI doing the AI thing to make it sound as humanly realistic as possible. And one of the things that even shocks me, like, listen to the way at the very beginning, the AI host that's supposed to be it's to me, it sounds like two white people talking. I was talking to somebody else. They were like, the white guys, or the first voice sounds like a black guy. I was like, no, it does not. Just because he has a deep voice doesn't mean that's a black guy. But the woman, when the way that she softens saying black women at the beginning is like mind blow, mind blow. Just literally just how white people would do it, where it's like, ooh, it's the taboo thing to say. You'll hear it. You know, it's like a dog whistle to us as black people. But I'm saying this is AI doing what white people do when discussing black people. It's like, how's the AI know that the voices are white, and therefore it's a conversation that the AI, technically speaking, shouldn't even be having, right? Because if this was real, people would be like, who are they to talk about us, right? Right? They'd be all type of, they don't know, they're not us, right? These are the problems that we deal with. But I'm saying, just listen to the dynamic of the conversation, listen to the tone, the inflection, like this. Like, yeah, I think about the economy and jobs and patriarchy and all that stuff. And I'm like, you saw, granted, it was Pepsi. I saw Antoine's video talking about, Pepsi fired a whole bunch of people in Chicago. But I'm just saying, even when you get up into the more sophisticated stuff, okay, I shared this with, not this video in particular, but I shared this with somebody else. And, they have a company, and basically they were saying, you know, that's two people out of a job. Like the amount of time, the air time, to hire two people, the airtime of a podcast, the money that you have to spend for the promotion, all that stuff. And here's AI doing it. You can promote anything with this, and it sound real. I'm waiting for them to come out with different voices. Right now they only have these two voices, but I want different voices. If I want somebody with an Indian accent, I want somebody with an Indian accent. If I want somebody speaking Jamaican patois, I want them up there. And I know that I saw people doing this stuff with the phone. I think that's like the new Apple update. I don't know. But I'm saying, that these are my thoughts. And this is AI imitating two white people talking about the source material, which I gave AI to talk about black relationship dynamics. I mean, y'all gotta let that sink in. You gotta let it sink in. You know. Anyway, you know, without further ado.
Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring some really fascinating stuff,
Yeah.
and maybe even a little bit controversial. Yeah, it's about modern relationships.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we're going to be diving deep into Sergeant Willie Pete's updated concept. You familiar with this at all?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Looking forward to unpacking it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. He breaks down his observations, and it's about the dynamic that's going on between some black women and high-earning men
Hmm.
today. And just thinking about it all, I was kind of curious.
Hmm.
eh, have you noticed like any of these trends like out in the wild?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely a perspective that makes you step back and think,
Yeah.
about how much relationships have changed, especially,
All right.
how society has like shifted so much.
Oh, for sure. And Sergeant Willie P's main point is that black women are in such a different place now
Right?
than, say, 50 or 60 years ago.
Right.
I mean, so many are financially independent these days.
Mm.
They don't need to rely on a partner
Right.
for basic survival
Yeah.
like they might have had to in the past.
Totally.
And that changes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And Willie Pete, he really like highlights how that shift has really impacted relationships. He even suggests, that some black women are focused on securing a lifestyle
Ooh.
when they're considering, hiring men. So it's not just about like meeting basic needs anymore.
Right.
It's about like finding a partner who elevates like their existing lifestyle.
Yeah. Securing a lifestyle, that phrasing,
It's powerful.
it is powerful, right? It's like almost strategic.
Yeah.
It's like there's a clear goal in mind. What do you make of that?
I think, if you think about it, we've seen a huge increase, in women's workforce participation over the past few decades.
Oh, yeah.
More and more women are graduating from college. They're earning higher salaries,
Yeah.
building their own financial security, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it makes sense that that would, like, affect what they look for in a partner.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe for some, finding someone who, like, complements and enhances their already established lifestyle, it becomes like a priority.
Yeah. No, that's such a good point. It's not about needing someone to just pay the bills anymore.
Right.
It's about finding a partner who aligns with your aspirations, with your goals.
Absolutely.
But Willie Pete doesn't stop there.
No, he doesn't.
He goes on to talk about this idea of separating leadership from the responsibilities of patriarchy
Yeah.
in these relationships. What do you think he means by that?
I think it's definitely a complex concept,
Yeah.
for sure. It seems like he's suggesting that some women are interested in like the financial benefits
Right.
that have traditionally come with, a patriarchal system, the
Mhm.
provider role, but like without necessarily accepting the traditional power dynamics and expectations that often, go along with that.
Right. Right. And then he even uses the phrase, her role is optional, his is obligatory.
Yeah. Powerful, right?
It's pretty powerful stuff.
It is.
And this leads into another interesting point that he makes about working class men kind of being overlooked in this dynamic.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Well, he suggests that in this model, like somebody who's working class might primarily like offer an equal financial partnership
Yeah.
and companionship, which are things these women might already have
Right.
on their own. And he actually uses this interesting phrase, status validating a woman's self-worth.
Okay.
So he's kind of implying that a man's financial success can be tied to how some women, perceive their own value.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
It is.
Makes you think about how economic and social factors are playing into relationships in
Yeah.
ways we don't always realize, right?
Yeah.
So where does Willie Pete say all of this is headed?
Yeah.
He talks about a potential end game to these relationships.
Yeah.
That's pretty thought-provoking.
It is. He suggests that, in some cases, the goal might be to like gain access to those financial resources, maybe have children, and then eventually, separate on terms that like maintain her independence.
Yeah.
It definitely, pushes us to think about the ethical considerations and the potential consequences, of this approach to relationships.
Yeah. And then he closes with a pretty strong warning. He says, "Gentlemen, I highly advise you to proceed with severe caution."
It's heavy, man.
What do you make of that? What do you make of that statement?
I think it's really open to interpretation. On the one hand, he could be just like pointing out potential pitfalls to be aware of, in certain relationships. But on the other hand, we have to be careful about making generalizations,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
And we have to recognize that every relationship is unique.
100%.
Yeah.
So if we step back and we look at the big picture here, it seems like what Willie Pete is pointing out is a potential shift
Yeah.
in relationship dynamics, and one where financial independence and changing views on gender roles
Sure.
are playing a big part.
Absolutely. And, it raises so many questions.
Oh, yeah.
What do we truly value in
Yeah.
relationships? How do power dynamics,
Yeah.
come into play? What are the long-term implications, of these choices?
Right. Yeah. It's a lot to think about. So much.
Yeah.
A lot to think about, for sure. Here's a final thought for you to ponder.
Okay.
Is this a limited trend? Or is it a sign of broader changes in how we're all approaching relationships in the 21st century?
That's the question.
Right. There's no simple answer, right?
No.
But just exploring these questions can help us all navigate, this ever-evolving landscape of love and partnership.
Totally.
So thanks for diving deep with us today. This was really great.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Really fascinating stuff.
A lot to think about.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank